So, welcome to episode 6, where I'm joined by the second most beautiful man in the world. Obviously, I'm the first, Mr. Stuart Hunter AKA UmbraMann. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, my friend. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, it's been too long, far too long.
Yeah. It's just time goes by, doesn't it? You know, we've both got so many projects on the go. Yeah.
It's just non-stop. And I know I keep saying I need to contact more people more often. But like you said, I know how busy you are because you got uni, you're doing the filming, you're doing all the projects that you've got lined up, ones that you're doing now, ones that you have done, ones that you got coming up. And it's just, it is non-stop. And it's pretty good that we've managed to get to fit this in now when we both planned. It's just, I happened to finish work a little bit earlier. So it's made my life so much easier anyway. So yeah, it's all good. But so I initially interviewed you. What would it be now? About 12 months ago or longer?
I'd say is it at least 12 months? I think, yeah.
And you'd not been at uni that long, and you just started to get into the short films and the independent side to the filmmaking and that. But
yeah.
You were saying you set up a community. Do you say Gateshead because you're up in the northeast?
Yeah, I am in the north. Yeah. So the one that I set up by accident is in Hartlepool.
That's it.
Yeah, focusing on the Tees Valley. But I'm kind of part of a couple of different groups in and around the northeast, trying to kind of unify the region if we can.
Yeah. So how's that going? Is it more difficult? Is it easier than you thought, or is it like you said? It just happened, didn't it? It didn't use. It was never planned. It just became a thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from my point of view, kind of creating a part of the community wasn't planned. No, I've always been in and around. I say always, probably four years, but with a deep interest before that. But really actively about 4 years. And then, so that was at Newcastle Film Club, helping out on various little films and things in the region, just trying to develop my own process. And then after I did an access course in Middlesbrough, and then I was about to start uni, I kind of went to a little trippy art installation from one of my friends put on, and another was exhibiting there. So I kind of had a conversation about oh, this is really cool. What are you going to do after? And he wasn't really 100% sure. So I kind of suggested a few names to kind of get together and see, established filmmakers in the region, production companies, that kind of thing, and see if they could kind of get this group going in a similar way to what exists already in Newcastle. I think there's one that's not quite as proactive necessarily, that's in Sunderland. Well, no, it's doing okay. It's in Sunderland, but I think more showcase rather than make films, I guess.
Yeah.
But Hartlepool didn't really have anything, and it was kind of a strange one because they've got two really good unis there. They've got a new film studio, the Northern Studios, that's linked to the Northern School of Art there, and there's so much infrastructure happening there, and it was just kind of why doesn't this exist here? So I had a little conversation with this guy, and in the end it was kind of obvious that without having the network of people that I'd already kind of established and built up, it would be difficult for him to kind of continue that month on month. So yeah, that meant that was going to come to me. Fortunately, whilst I was at a summer social at the Northern Studios, I met what has become part of the core team of In the Frame, which is the little community that I kind of envisioned and helped to put together. And since then, it's taken off really quickly. It's just, as you know, if things grow quickly, it's hard to manage and keep up with the time demands of that. So we're kind of having to just take a moment, see where it is that we want to go next, what we want to transition to. Do we want to become a community interest company, or would looked briefly at being a charity. That's not off the table, but that comes with its own limitations. Yes, there are different funding streams, but it very quickly becomes a minefield where you just sat like, oh God, what have we done?
And it's knowing which one, because when you choose one, you've got to go down that path so far before you realise if it's working or not.
Yeah.
And then if it's not, you just start again, don't you?
Well, sometimes, yeah. Sometimes a clean slate is a better option, but it depends, because there are certain options where you can transition if things haven't worked out exactly as you planned it, so you can always revisit certain parts. But yeah, sometimes you've accidentally created some invisible, unknown handcuffs for yourself, and you can't escape that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You and your love for mystery handcuffs. We're not going to
We said we won't talk about that.
Yeah.
No, but it's like I said before, like I just through going out investigating, and then this just happened because I couldn't do it due to lockdown, and then other things have progressed, and it's just come to the level that it's at now. And that was why I chose to do this different podcast rather than the other one, the Alienate UK, that had a million other names before that, because I wanted to step away from that and do something that, like yourself, is community involved. It's learning about different people and what they do and how it involves other people and then what they do. So it's like a chain effect, isn't it? Like a domino effect, so to speak.
Yes, it is. But I mean, you never know where those little first steps can lead. I mean, I've still got 2 years left to go at uni, and I suspect in those 2 years I'll have not just like the extra experience and learning that goes with it, but you've got like contacts and opportunities that kind of
networking.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, one of the biggest things for me is to kind of open as many doors for as many people as possible. Just sounds like being a security somewhere.
really crap security. Instead of kicking just go through there. Going through the door, so you can't go anymore.
Trainers are cool. Come on in. It's no big deal. Yeah, just the worst doorman.
I'm going to the nightclub that you start working at, so you need to let me know when you're there.
With your whitest trainers and budgie smugglers on. Just a cheeky smile.
Mankini.
Yeah, there absolutely. You go. You'll get in. If I'm on the doors, you're in. No problem.
Yeah. But so where you was at, what, 12, 18 months ago, from when you was just starting out doing all this, where are you at now? Not just literally, but physically and mentally?
Yeah, well, to be fair, I kind of having a good team makes a difference, because I was at the point where you're trying to like jump on so many projects to help so many people. You find yourself in a space where you're not really helping anyone enough, because you're having to just like quickly dip in. You need some lights, cool, there's some lights, go drive over to somewhere else. What do you need? A soundy? Okay, I'll get you a soundy. And very quickly you kind of you're spinning more plates than you're actually helping. So I had to kind of not step away from certain things, but just ease off a little bit, just so that I can do justice to the projects that I'm on. I mean, like literally before coming on here, I was on a phone call trying to help someone cut a trailer so they can generate interest in a feature.
Right.
And that's like asking them, have they done a script breakdown? If they have, well, what bits do you need? Have you got crew? Which cast do you need? Can I get like cast sheets so I can send that out to, a bit like actors or groups of people? Yeah. So where am I now is kind of a good question, because I always feel as though I'm still on like the first few steps. You know what I mean? Even though I've done quite a bit. I've been on award-winning films. I've met people who, go on to do great things. I mean, to be fair, like I dare say my lighting kit's been in more films than I have. Do you know what I mean? It's like you just like accumulating stuff so you can help facilitate other people's things. But I mean, I've still got like a real long way to go before I'm anywhere near the level that I want to be.
But that, just let me cut in there. But with you saying you still feel that you're at the first couple of steps, I get that because I'm pretty much the same. So, with you saying that you're still like a million miles away from where you want to be, do you think you will personally recognize that when you're there, or do you still think you're going to be somewhere at the beginning?
Well, I think like one of the curses of being British, I think, is even if we do get there, we'll still be like not self-depreciating, but you know what I mean, where it's like, oh, you've achieved it now, and you'll be like, have I?
Yeah, but
yeah,
yeah.
that, you know.
Well,
So it's
yeah,
kind of
that's what I was like with YouTube. I got to where I wanted to be. I did it in 3. I planned to do it in 5. I got there in 3. I'm like, yeah, but I can still, and I totally get that.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, you did try and like literally take over YouTube on your own at one point. So,
Oh, I had to do something. Well,
yeah. Well,
everything
I
else.
don't know how you did it, because like the amount of time and graft and just late nights and planning and with like multiple projects. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do multiple projects now. But I was like watching it at the time, like, what? Are you like clones of 3 people? It was, do you know what I mean? It was just like,
But do you know, with you saying that, one of the easiest projects so far, and this is easier than going out investigating 2 miles away for 2 hours, was a 24-hour podcast, which become 25, 26 hour. It just fell into place. I don't know if it was just the people that I had helping, whether it was guests or co-hosts and just people that helped organizing it. But it was just like someone would give me this jigsaw puzzle, for it up in the end, or just landed how it should fit together.
I mean,
that's like, wow. And it was straight away, it was there.
So what was that like though? Like 25 hours of just, I would run out of things.
It was,
I mean,
one of the best things I've ever done. I'll gotta admit. It was, I was tired, believe it or not, because this was a thing with it as well. So I thought, I had in my head, all I've got to do is stay awake for 25 hours, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Simple as that.
But no, it's not, because I didn't take into account, I was getting up at 8 o'clock that morning. Yeah. I was off work. Then I had to sort everything out. So I was awake from 8 o'clock Thursday morning. I didn't go to sleep till I think it was 3 o'clock Sunday morning. So I was awake all of Friday, most of Thursday, all of Friday, all of Saturday, or whatever it was. I was awake 41 hours.
Wow.
From beginning to end. I had one hour. The main break was 1 hour break, because it's like, I need to change. You know, when you just sat in the same clothes, and even though you've not really done anything, you just feel dirty in that. So it's like, I just need to go change my clothes, freshen up, and splash up my makeup out, have a coffee, and then 10 minutes, get back in the zone, carry on. And that was it. I had a couple of breaks in between. And obviously I was eating as I was going, because I would not last the full time. But it was so easy to do. But I think with the guests that were on, made it a lot easier.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to start getting more delusional than what I normally am.
I was going to say,
we
all know this.
Yeah, well, yeah. And I stayed with the project of how and where it was supposed to go. And I was very proud of myself for being able to do that.
Oh, absolutely. It's a feat. I don't know if I could have done it. Definitely. So
like I said, it wasn't as difficult as because I thought it's going to take me like 3-4 weeks to plan it from like beginning to end. And I think within, other than 1 hour gap, I'd done it in 3 hours. I'm like, oh, right, okay. And it's just a fine tuning and details, and that was it. Some of it I was ad-libbed as we went, like bringing guests on and people staying on and all that. But the majority of it was first 3 hours done and dusted. But it didn't feel that long.
Okay, but so when things go, because I always have this little battle in my mind when things go exactly right all of the time, and then you're
Yeah.
like, how much learning did I get out of that though? Do you know what I mean? Because I think sometimes,
Yes.
like when you come up against a whole bunch of problems, and not that I'm asking the universe for any, because
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
making films, that all you're doing is problem solving like
Yeah.
90% of the time. I don't know any film ever that's like come out exactly as what was written down or
Yeah.
first envisioned. So yeah, I think when things go perfectly, I don't know like if that's a blessing or a curse sometimes. I mean, you take it as a win every time, of
Oh
course.
yeah, 100%.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think like just because I'm used to like constant problem solving all of the time, if nothing went wrong, I'd be like, hang on a bit, something
Yeah.
really bad is on
You're
here.
waiting. Well,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was it. I was waiting for something to go wrong, but I think I covered every possibility that I thought could happen. And there was one, somebody couldn't come on because he had to go to A&E, which you're not going, oh, cheers for letting me down. You
Yeah,
know, oh,
yeah, yeah.
thanks
Just
for breaking your neck.
yeah.
You know, but it was like, it was fine because that person was coming on with other guests at the same time.
Mhm.
I felt bad that they was gutted that they couldn't get on, but it's like same time they had an injury, so things like that. I think there was 2 people in total out of all of 40, 42-ish maybe that couldn't get on.
Right. I mean, that's decent.
So yeah, so it wasn't that bad, but it was good that it flowed. Everything. I was going to say everything went to plan, but the only plan was I was going to sit there for 25 hours.
Uh-huh.
So
Just
yeah, that went to
rot
plan.
in your clothes.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was it, and it worked. The thing was, it worked.
Cool.
And
Nice one.
as you know, I don't script anything. I might take notes as I'm going, just to ask questions with the guests and that. But 99.9% of the time, it's just I open, it comes out. I mess up, I don't. Good.
You are the champion of extemporizing.
I don't even know what that means, but I'll tell you
It just basically means making it up as you go along.
that. Oh yeah, I'm good at that.
Yeah, you are definitely.
But
Yeah.
so what so far then? So with me doing the 24-hour one, what's been your biggest battle out of everything you've done from the day you started to like half an hour ago?
Oh, my biggest battle. I mean, on one level, I suppose it was like my first official student film. It turned out dreadful because that was a case of like almost everything, regardless of the planning, almost everything that could go wrong did kind of go
Yeah.
wrong. So I'm having to find bits at last minute. I've had like actors that couldn't do it, and it's like, well, the costumes
Yeah.
have literally been made to fit your body, so it
Yeah.
can't really be anyone else. So you're kind of having to like adapt and get people in at last minute. That like the lighting setups that I hoped for didn't quite do what I envisaged them doing as well as I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the end, like that's a good example of like learning. And I mean, it got a decent mark, even though the end result wasn't what I wanted, because I still had to like carve some stuff out. I mean, to be fair, in it, I learned like I don't know anything about VFX whatsoever, so just don't even. Yeah, but it was a good time to like find out what are your limitations, what bits are you like you've got
Yeah.
no idea what you're doing here, and that's kind of what it was for. So yeah, that was a massive challenge, but it was like a learning challenge. It was intentionally difficult because I just tried
Don't
to
you
do.
love? But don't you love that learning part of it? Regardless of what it is you're doing, it's something you enjoy.
Mhm.
Just learning that next thing, whether it's the next step or a sideline or a branch going off, it's just learning something new that you can then put into anything else that you do similar to that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm kind of going through that now within the frame
Yeah,
because, like, for a start, I never intentionally built this
yeah,
thing. I say it's very much a team effort, but it was my vision.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
but I never thought that I would have to like learn the different company structures or organizational bodies or where you're going to get funding opportunities for this, that, and the other to help people. It was only ever really to start off with just like a small group to get people who are established in the area helping emerging people come through, and vice versa. If established people needed entry level crew, there they are, ready to go.
Yeah.
But since then, it's become like much more. We're kind of linking in with film festivals. We're getting people, hopefully on set opportunities. Well, we are anyway. We've been very lucky with the people who've been generous with their time.
Yeah.
We've had people who've worked on like high level stuff, donate old kit,
Yeah.
So, but then that comes with the challenge of where the hell do we store it? How do we get people access to it for free, and ensure it comes back? So
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
there's all of these things that you're like, well, yeah, we want to help people, and remove all of these barriers to entry, but at the same time, you don't want to be stood there where you've been fleeced. You just on a bus corner and just your underpants because you've given everything away. So
Not again. Not again.
yeah, that old game. That's my story.
Every Saturday night this
That's it.
happens. I'm sick of it.
Oh, it's his film stuff, is it?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how are you fitting all this in with uni? Or are you using that as part of your uni work?
Well, currently I'm not, but having said that, being at the Northern School of Art has helped because they have been really supportive. So I can host some of my In the Frame events at their lecture hall because I'm a student there. In other ways, it's limiting because I'm a student there. I can't offer other things because that becomes a conflict of interest. So it's just trying to find that balance. But I think the staff have been quite supportive of it. They've donated bits of kit to demo. I think like the last one, we did like a Steadicam workshop. I brought my gimbal. For anyone who doesn't know what a gimbal is, it's camera stabilization. Then one of our core team has a Steadicam rig, and he brought that in. And we explained the differences. We let people kind of try it on so they could get a feel for, and all that good stuff. So we're kind of, it has been helpful, but at the same time, I still got to get those deadlines done. You know what I mean? So they don't care if, I could be the most community orientated person on the planet. They're not bothered if I've missed a deadline. You shouldn't be doing it then. From their point of view, and they'd be, right. So
what you say, you've got 2 more years to go, 2 or 3.
So I've got two more years to go. I mean, like I say, fortunately, I had some previous experience before, so I have a certain advantage because I've got a large network of people who I can kind of dip into, which was a saving grace for when I did my first film for uni, because the film studio at the uni was kind of constantly booked and I needed it. But because I know people who have their own smaller studios and they're super generous. I mean, the Northeast we're really, really lucky in that we have this kind of community mindset that, and this is not like to disparage London or anywhere like that, but where it's like, pays for the stuff, you can have the stuff. And of course, I'm sure there's communities in London that are as equally generous. But in the Northeast, you can like literally rock up after a couple of conversations and be like, I need this thing. And someone will be like, I'll sort you out if I can. And that's kind of like, it's a real superpower up here that it's worth more than money in so many ways. So, like Chris, who let me use his studio, again, if I had any bits or any help, in fact, actually, I'm trying to find him some people for another project that he's got ongoing. So it's just trying to like, pay things forwards as much as possible, and just helping everyone out. So that was an advantage for me before starting uni. But at the same time, I've still got to get all like, as high a standard as possible all of the time. But it's a challenge. There's no two ways about it. I mean, there was like parts, which is why I had to kind of look at stepping back a little bit from certain projects or clubs and all the rest of it, just because in the end, this is like, with the best will in the world, it's kind of like a black hole. It will take as much as you'll put in. You will, you know what I mean? You'll never kind of hit full. If you give it all of your life, it'll take all of your life and more, you know, it's
and
just
it'll never stop.
Yeah. So you kind of have
ongoing.
to like, self-regulate a little bit and be like, well, I can give this amount fairly regularly to a decent standard. After that, that's when you need to be like boundary setting. And people will tell you I'm the worst for it because I want everyone to do really well. So it'll be like phone calls, WhatsApps, you know, or messages on Facebooks or whatever socials, Insta, you name it. Have you got a thing? Can you do this? I need a person, you know. So like, it becomes a lot. So you just have
becomes
to be,
everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, you just kind of got to. I think it helps personally me having a good team around me, just so that they can be like, be careful that you're not going too hard all the time. So they're a blessing, definitely.
Yeah, well, that's why I've cut back on the other one as well. So Wednesdays is last Wednesday of the month, because I was only getting, it weren't even days, it's getting hours to organise the next live podcast. And it's like, so it's like with doing the Monday one, then it was Wednesday, then it was Friday, then I'm going out investigating, then I'm going all over the country doing different things as well now. It's like, no, something's got to give. So it was Wednesday. It's like Wednesday's gone. And like I said, it's just the last Wednesday of the month, and that's it. And that's easy now. That's like a click. It's I have 4 weeks at least to organise each one. And this is why I like doing this one on pre-record, because then I've got, if I've got 3 or 4 in front, I've got plenty of time then to edit it and get it out there. So I've got, with this, I've got like 4 weeks before it's going to go out.
Yeah.
So it's plenty of time to edit it. And between now and then, I'm off for 2 weeks. So I'm going to bang as many as I can and just get a ton of them all lined up.
2 weeks. How many podcasts did you do, Andy? 750,000. Yeah. If anyone can.
Yeah. So I just want to get in front and to get to that level and that point. That's where I want to be with this, because I know how difficult it was with the other one. And when I tried doing that flying solo when you was on there, I've said to people that when you were on there, we both kind of just started out. I'd started out on my own, and I still wasn't 100% what I was doing was right. And looking back now, I'm not saying it wasn't right, but for me, it wasn't the right time to do that. Whereas now, it's all good. I feel the energy and the passion of everything that I'm doing, as well as like yourself, the guest, and then people that watch it back. So gratitude to everything that's going on.
Yeah, I think that's an important point, actually, that you kind of have to have the energy to output to make it work. Because if you're running on empty, and I mean, don't get me wrong, there's times when I've done in the frame and I've just been knackered. I mean, that's because that runs on an evening. So you could have done like uni, you could have been helping people on jobs, you could have been, you know, reading scripts or whatever it is. But then you kind of like got to go out, host this thing, you know, kind of try and bring a vibe and an energy. And sometimes it isn't there when you're just totally gassed and you're just like, oh. But without that passion and energy, everything just kind of it drops to a level where you kind of like, no one's feeling it anymore. You know, so you kind of, that's when you know you need to kind of address where is taking all of that energy away, and then kind of like,
do you ever do any sort of meditation or relaxation?
So I mean, I try and do meditation every day. I'm rubbish at it. I've got a really super distracted mind.
Well, I'm saying nothing, but anyway.
I mean, like, I think my path to enlightenment is 1 trillion miles longer than everyone else's. It's just because of like this, you know.
You need blinkers.
Honestly,
you need to, you've got to.
Yeah,
you've got to. I can do it. If I can, you can. I'm telling you.
I mean,
You just you switch off from everything, and just go into that mode. I was saying to Tommy, who interviewed couple of weeks ago. I used to do it every day, but I'm at the point now where I can do it while I'm driving. I didn't realise. I mean, I've got to sleep
Yeah.
at the wheel or at that
Yeah,
end
lotus
upside
position.
down in the ditch. But I mean, I can. The meditation, it's not just for the body.
Yeah.
It's for me. It's more for the mind.
Mhm.
My job's not a physical job, as you can probably tell, but it's mental because I've got to stay awake. I've got to stay alert, and it's similar to doing the podcasting. You staying awake and the energy and the alertness and all that. So if you just get 10 minutes here and there and just go into that zone and then come back out, because now, even when, like you were saying, when you just feel like, I cannot be arsed, I really don't want to do this. And I know I can't phone in sick and go, oh, sorry, I can't do the podcast tonight. If it was something really important or serious, then yeah, and I think people would understand. But I just don't like letting anyone down.
No, I'm the same.
That's the biggest part of it. So I make sure that with doing the meditation, that I can bring that energy back that I think the show needs.
Mhm.
Might be too much or not enough, but for me, it feels the right amount.
Yeah, I think one of the things that kind of keeps me struggling with it is because I dip into so many little bits, and it like takes attention away. So you kind of lose deep focus sometimes because you're kind of like just little bites of things. Like deep focusing in small chunks is not the same as kind of taking an extended period of time to just bring everything down.
Yeah.
Where it's not intrusive thoughts and all that kind of thing. So, I mean, I still do it every day. I kind of prefer like when it's like early morning. So I prefer darker early mornings to do it and just kind of like try and, drift in and see kind of where that goes. But I'll be the first to say, I think, sometimes having creative minds can be a bit of a curse, because you start building stories and then like follow that a little bit, and it's like, this is not.
Yeah, but then when you get to a block, you're waiting, and then all of a sudden, I've said before, I'll be driving along, or middle of the night, I'll wake up, or I've got to get home. I know what I need to do, and I can only do it on the iPad or the computer. It's like, I've still got like 4 or 5 hours of work left to do. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
How can I go home now?
Yeah, you'll have to get like a Dr. Octopus suit that drives while you're on the pad.
Start doing everything.
Yeah. Just do everything, mate.
Yeah, I thought, I'll create something. But it's I find with the meditating that now when I put my mind to doing something, because I've just fine-tuned the intro and the outro, not on this, on the other one. Just changed, because everything progresses, so you change it a little bit. Whereas before, I was changing a lot of it, all the time. Whereas now it's just, as things progress through what's going on, kind of just fine-tune it and like add a little bit of detail, take something out, replace it with another thing. And it's that. And then, so when I was doing that the other day, I just sat here, head down on the desk, pen, and just getting it spot on to exactly how I wanted it. And I think and then it's like, yes, done. That's it now for however long.
Yeah, but that's part of like, you've refined your process enough now where you've got your own style of things. You've got, a system, an order of process, so that it's kind of like driving a car. When you first drive, think I'm going to kill everyone on the road, but then after a while, you're not even thinking about that. You're kind of planning other things.
Planning on killing everyone on the road.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. No, I know. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So I think once you hit the point where you are fine tuning, that's when you know that your practice is developed quite well. I think I'm still in that process of how do I get to a particular route that fits me, where I'm only fine tuning. Because at the moment I'm looking at, is it like cinematography? Is it editing? Is it sound? Sounds ridiculously hard, so probably not.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do like it. It's just very complex.
Yeah.
Not that the others aren't, but I think kind of gravitate
Do
more.
you ever find that you overcomplicate things?
All the time?
I'm not saying overthinking, but
Yeah.
you're trying to do something and it's like you'll be doing something for so long and then it's like you just have a switch and it's like scrap it all. All I needed to do was that.
Yeah, all the time. But I think that's the difference in kind of novice and master. Whereas a novice is trying to run before they can walk. Someone who's closer to mastery has learned how to simplify as much as possible so that they're not working hard, they're working smart. And that's where you kind of need to get to. And I mean, that's currently where I am. At the moment, I'm trying to develop storycraft. So I attend a creative writing group. I'm currently reading through The Writer's Journey, then The Hero with a Thousand Faces, just various different kind of storycraft books or any text I can get that help develop that. Because I think, with anything, well, with everything, story is king. You always end up going back to that. But I think that's something that people forget. They're always like, oh, we're all in on gear, or we'll spend hundreds of hours, just flicking through, oh, I'd love to buy this and I'd like to have that, or we'll go there if we can get this person. And you forget that your strongest foundations are understand story first and then try and learn what, well, I say cinema, but it's really the seventh art is how I refer to it, because it's the seventh art is more than just cinema. It's more than just film. It's any kind of mix of audio visual power, in my opinion, that elicit generally predictable emotional responses. So yeah, learning the fundamentals of that is far more productive, I feel, than oh, I know this camera inside out. Well, that's cool, but in 6 years you're not going to be using that camera because technology moves on. Unless you're kind of using an analog system for a retro feel or something like that. So yeah, I mean, that's the difference between novice and master, is you're learning how to simplify. And I'm very much not there yet, but I'm working on it.
You're getting there. You must be getting there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I mean, without kind of being too big-headed about it, but in my class, I am considered as someone who kind of knows what they're doing.
Right. Well, that's good.
But to what level? Who really knows?
But you'll never fully admit how high a level that you're at. Like people say about being humble and all that.
Yeah, I think it's because we intrinsically know where our weaknesses lie. So if you were to paint a picture, I mean, I literally did this last year, doing art, and everyone's like, oh, that's really good, but you're only looking at where the faults are, because those are the bits that you couldn't do. You kind of almost enjoy the good bits, but you're looking at I didn't get that right, or this doesn't fit. You know what I mean? So I think in any creative practice, you're always looking at, well, why didn't that quite work how I wanted it to? Sometimes you never find out.
Well, I was literally doing that yesterday, and I spent 2.5 hours, and I could not work out how to get rid of this little bit of corner. No one else had probably been able to see it, but because I knew it was there, so I had to change it all. Didn't have to change it all, but I had to go back to the beginning and go through each step process to get to that point and remove it before I got to it. I couldn't even backtrack on it, and nothing. I had to start again. It's like, oh, I really don't need this right now. I've done it now, but it's still not how I wanted it, but it's the next best thing for me.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing as well. When you are kind of still learning a lot of things at pace and you've got a whole bunch of projects, even though you learn a lot in failure, it's almost like, not now, Kate, or you haven't got time for failure just yet. I'll have failure when it's convenient. It's like,
well, I literally didn't have time to. this needs to be here working now, and it's not. And it's probably because it's all digital. It's only like 3 or 4 pixels, and like one of the top corners, you wouldn't have noticed it. But I could see it, and it stood out like a massive boil on the end of your nose or something. It was just, it wasn't going. So I was like, yeah, start again. So
I feel your pain, definitely.
So going from failure to what so far is your biggest highlight, whether it's uni or the filmmaking or the community?
Okay.
What's the thing that stands out more for you on a personal level than everything else you've done?
Currently, it's probably still in the frame, because
Yeah,
that has helped to lift, or it's starting to help to lift the community. Once we're kind of up to full speed, then I believe that can do some real good, just as a cultural boost. But if we can get the cultural boost right, then that will also spur an economic boost for pretty much, is it the first or second most deprived area in the UK? So that's what we kind of need to be doing, is lifting art, or using art as a vehicle to kind of regenerate an entire region. And then I think that's how you can do that. Because I know, everyone has spoken about leveling ups and all of that kind of thing on a government level, but that just hasn't happened. The opposite has happened, if anything. So we kind of have to I take the attitude of, if there's no cavalry coming, we might as well just form our own then and get on with it. And that's so, in the frame for me is probably my own personal success, I guess, although the team has to take credit for it. It's absolutely not just me, and I'll never ever say it is just me. But I think that's probably what I get the most satisfaction from, because I see the potential of what that can do. And because the things that are happening in the region at the moment, with studio infrastructure coming in, production companies are coming up here more. We have certain fairly large films being filmed up here as well. So things are happening. We just have to kind of make the best of that and not let that die off, because I think, was it around 2008 that something similar was about to happen, but then there was financial crashes. People who were involved in doing it kind of didn't fully understand how to do what they wanted to do. So those film studios that were planned that didn't happen, etc., etc. But currently, it seems as though the right things are happening at the right time. So it's just a matter of, can we now get the people upskilled and ready to kind of lift that when it all kind of comes about? And I think I'm hopeful that we can.
So do you run a workshop?
So, well, it depends on the event. So we have currently, this month is the end of our workshop format. So we've got what's called Screencraft Lab, and that was kind of a brainchild of mine and a guy called Paul Suggett, who's a very prolific documentarian in the Northeast, Hartlepool based. Super generous with his time. He has helped to make In the Frame what it is as well. Is invaluable. And he kind of wanted to give back. So he's like, well, we could put these workshops on and take people from concept all the way through the different stages of what it takes to kind of develop your film. And then this one that will be happening on July the 11th is about, now you've got your film kind of knocked into shape, hopefully, this is how you would submit it to a film festival. Then we've got like raffles where we're going to get tickets given to the winner for one of their qualifying films that'll be submitted to the Tees Valley International Film Festival. And the director, Michael Luke, is very generous. Again, he's been super supportive, donating tickets and opportunities for people. So, I mean, we do workshops, but we also kind of like to screen So it's a combination of screenings, workshops, and networking. So
Yeah.
it's people who've made something and we want to celebrate that. So we like take local, regional filmmakers and screen their work from any level,
Yeah.
because this is the thing that we don't want to do is say, oh, your beginner film doesn't have the same merit as someone who's made something that was made for, $5 million or
Yeah.
£100,000 or whatever. It's like, well, you've got to start somewhere. And if you look at a lot of like directors' early films, some of them were pretty dodgy. Some were okay, some were good, but
Yeah.
not always, So what we want to do is be like, look, these are the people who, when they started out, they were at the same level as you. So don't be afraid to showcase it. Get on, tell people, what was your process? Why did you make this film? What did you struggle with? Is there anything that we can help you with in the future? So it's like that kind of a showcase. Plus, often when you have like film screenings, a lot of the time the filmmakers don't really get too much opportunity to say why they made that film. It's just like, here's a cool film, everyone claps, mint. But we wanted to kind of personalize it a little bit more. So I think we're kind of doing that quite successfully.
Yeah.
So yeah, in between the screenings, the networking events, oh, I haven't said that. Sometimes we like totally run over, and the networking event is like, down a pint, see you tomorrow. But there are breaks in that, so you can always, there's like opportunities to socialize or networking and kind of like details, get on projects and share ideas and all that good stuff. So yeah, so for me, like, I think In the Frame is probably the biggest, most proudest thing I've got on the go currently. But like on a different level, like we've just finished submitting the Newcastle Film Club film Nails to various festivals, and that I was one of the executive producers on that, along with Sam Castro, and she's an absolute boss. But again, the team on that, what we managed to do with the resources that we had is mind-bogglingly complex. I don't think there are many people who, for a tiny budget, and we're talking like nothing, almost nothing, to feed and get opportunities for 77 cast and crew and make like, and all of the gear is donated by cast and crew, all the costumes, everything. We had like a catering company where we did like a swap of, if you cater for us, we'll help do some promos for you and the rest of it. And just the amount of people that were so prepared to give so much, just to kind of come together and like do something creative, something positive and uplifting. It was a monstrous task. It was unbelievable. I mean, there were times when we're like, what the hell are we doing here? This is ridiculous. It just seemed almost impossible.
Yeah.
But we did it. We got it done. It's not without its faults. Is it absolutely perfect? Absolutely not. I don't know any film ever that can be considered as 100% perfect.
Yeah.
Although there are a few that you could argue maybe. But what we did with that was unbelievable. It was such a challenge, so incredibly difficult. Can
you share the name of the film?
Yeah, so the name of the film is called Nails. And that, you'll be able to, anyone who wants to will be able to watch that on the Newcastle Film Club YouTube channel after it's done its festival run. So once that's ready, by all means, go there and check it out. And but when you're watching it, keep in mind that was made for almost nothing, with so many volunteers just giving everything they could to it.
That's what it's about, though, isn't it? That's what you're aiming for.
I think so. Yeah. But I mean, because I think there's something a bit special about. And I think was Orson Welles has kind of mentioned this before about the difference between what would be termed amateur or professional. And it's like, amateur means for the love of the thing, you know what I mean? So it's not necessarily that the quality is worse. It's just you have, well, for a start, I think doing it the way that we do it gives us the flexibility that if we had a massive budget, then you've got people who make certain demands. So that limits how you can do things or what you can do. Sometimes more money does, equal more problems. So
yeah,
we hit a good sweet spot where we can be very creative, very fluid and dynamic, but at the same time get done what we need to get done.
yeah.
So, but I think it is a little bit of a kind of a special thing. It would just be nice if there was more arts funding for that, so that we could make sure that people didn't have to kind of do things,
Yeah,
by
yeah.
the skin of the teeth all of the time, and they could comfortably achieve something even more special, given the chance.
But maybe that might be part of why it turned out so good, because, like you said, there's 77 people or whatever in total. If they're putting their everything into it, and not just the raw, like, physical effort, but the stuff that they're bringing and using to make the movie, maybe that's why it became so good, because of the energy from all of that. I'm trying to think of the word. You're better at words than me. You understand them for a start. What's the word?
See, this is where I need to be able to read your mind. But if I
I
could,
know
just be
you
like,
normally can, but
well,
that's on a
normally, yeah,
different level.
it's because I've got a
It's
therapist.
like, it's like not the creativeness, but the empowerment of it all, because they're all like determination. That's it. The determination to make it something more special, because they've all gone out the way to give everything they've got to make it what it is.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly that. I mean, collaborative determination is exactly what that is. And I think that has a real value that you can't buy it. Do you know what I mean?
No.
You can't buy someone's genuine interest. It's either there or it's not. But that's something that we do particularly well. Is we're very lucky in our region that our community does have that in abundance. So yeah.
Excellent. I'm well impressed by you. Really, really am. Because I knew you said you was doing it, but it's like I never knew to what level or what degree you was going to go with it. But everything you told me, it's like, well done, mate.
Yeah.
Really,
it's hard. Yeah, we've had to have some, long, difficult conversations, late nights, and I
can
spent
imagine.
weeks and weeks just like collecting, because we had to fill a warehouse with cardboard boxes. And I mean, I was one of the few people who knew where to get cardboard boxes. So every week, just me and my brother into this warehouse, just shifting cardboard boxes empty. And everyone's like, "What are you doing?" And it's like, honestly, if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. Yeah, yeah.
So, are you planning on going on the road with this, or are you just going to stay up in Northeast?
I mean, the short answer is I don't really know.
Yeah.
Certainly for the time being, I want to kind of build the Northeast.
Yeah.
As strong as I can. I'm from there. I love it. You know what I mean? It's in my blood and bones. And I think they do have something special. And I don't know. I don't think that's just because I live here that I'm saying that, because I've, like, the person who I was on the phone to before coming on here is from Oldham. And she wants to make the film up here because she knows, like, her first film was made up here. Because we are so supportive, because we're not gatekeeping anything. You know what I mean? If there's jobs that come up for like real big films, everyone's like, "Oh, these jobs are here." It's not like, I have got these jobs for myself, and and trying to like hide everything. It isn't really like that. No, I haven't found that it is anyway. I'm sure in places it might be, but generally speaking, people are trying to help people just progress, so that's so currently I think I'd like to maybe expand it across the entire Northeast, but I don't really have the resources to kind of travel it too far. I don't think, but I can never say never. Who the hell knows?
Well, that's it. You don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 days.
Don't know what's
going on. I chose 10 days, but I did.
Everyone's got 9 days planned, Andy. Come on.
Oh, yeah, I'll give you that bonus day. Give you that extra day to think about it.
Yeah, but who knows? Who the hell knows? I don't.
That's it. I'm so chuffed we are.
Yeah,
honestly, I really am. And it just seems like, I know you're non-stop anyway, because of stuff that you're posting, and when we do get time to chat, it's like yeah, I've got like 5 minutes. Oh, you'll come in the chat. I am watching, but I'm really busy. I'm doing this. I'm doing that.
Yeah.
So I get it, and that's why I don't bombard you with a billion messages. I'd love to.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
I think I'd get that. I'd get that message back saying, "Just leave me alone."
Never. That message.
Remember them boxes. you're gonna be in about 8
Hide
of
it-
them if you
hide
carry
it
on.
boxes, yeah. Yeah.
No, but
like I say, I mean, I want to get on a project like me and you together at some point.
I know. I was
Keep
going to say
talking
we
about-
need to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to do like. I mean, I know you've been to Rendlesham fairly recently and Cannock Chase, but something along those lines. You know what I mean? Where we can take a solid crew
Do you know what?
together and
Do you know what?
do a thing.
I can't talk about it too much because we're still in the middle of actually writing it down.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be doing a thing. That's all I can say. And we need someone of your caliber to.
You need someone have a higher caliber than me, but I know someone. That's my special gift, I guess, is I know quite a lot of people who can do incredible.
So I need somebody in the Manchester area that's got your quality.
Right. So you need a shabby Manchester man.
Just any old tramp from anywhere.
No offense. Some guy in his pants in a buster carrying empty boxes.
No, I need somebody that's got your knowledge and expertise and enthusiasm, everything.
I mean, I do know someone in Manchester. He's a DOP, director of photography, so he works the camera. But he might have links in and around Manchester. I can ask around.
Yeah, if you don't mind, that'd be great. And I thought if I don't ask you now, I'll forget by the time we finish it.
I mean, that's one of the things, again, I go back to In the Frame because I host it a lot of the time. My memory is shocking. It's just like a list of like, you never did this and you never said that and you didn't do this. And I was like, look, if I've turned up with my trousers on and a smile.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
You know, the rest is
that's a good night.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I can have a list in front of me, like updates to the channel and the show and all that. And it's there for the full 2 hours. Do I look at it?
Yeah.
No.
I'm exactly the same. I literally
you didn't say this. You didn't say that. I know, because I've got the note in front of me telling me what I haven't done.
Yeah. It's just like all it is just like a list of shame, really, isn't it? Of like,
bright yellow. It's not like you can't see it.
Yeah.
Post-it note, but still bright yellow. But no, thank you, Stuart, so much for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure.
It has been far too long, and
I know.
Just love listening to what you talk about. You could talk about anything. I just sit there and listen to you. Just dreamy eyed and
just some
slavering,
beardy man.
No, it's just so fascinating from what you've done in the past, like previous work, to doing this now. It's a massive step.
Yeah, I mean, it
is
a
big.
Yeah, creation. Even I recognise that, in my British humble way. But yeah, it kind of has a potential to be a big deal, and we're already.
But does it feel right? Does this feel like this is what I'm here for?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, at any moment you could wake up and be like, "What the hell are you doing, you fool?"
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you kind of have to. If you didn't love it, it would kill you. Do you know what I mean? It's that intensive.
I think you have to have the passion.
Yeah,
keep doing it.
Yeah, no one would do this otherwise. I don't think if you were doing it for thinking it's a get rich quick scheme, you won't.
No,
that's not going to cut it. If you're doing it for fame or I don't know bragging rights, you'll get found out. You'll be cut down before you've even got there. I'm doing it for those two reasons. One, I love doing it, and two, I genuinely do believe it needs to happen.
Well, it's like saying the thing. I love doing this, and this is why I've sidestepped from the paranormal to do this. I would love to do this 24/7. I couldn't think of anything more that I'd rather do. Well, excuse me. That out from nowhere.
Other than drinking beer and
drinking beer on a Tuesday afternoon. No, it's like I'd love to do this all the time, but I know it's not going to pay me bills, and it's not going to pay for me to not go on holiday every year. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's a good hobby. I just enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
I love chatting to people, love finding out what everyone's up to. Really, I'm just a really nosy person. I'm writing it all down.
Totally thinking that all the way through. But that's its
Clone Stuart Hunter.
Yeah, but I think like having that like intro, let's call it curiosity. Let's call it that rather.
Inquisitive.
Inquisitive.
There we go.
That sounds better than just
it's more sophisticated.
Yeah, and just a nosy Manchester man. No,
just nosy man.
Very, very, very inquisitive.
Yeah.
But I think like people who are the ones that can get things done. You know, I mean, without that, there would be no science, would there? If everyone was like, "Why is the sky blue?" It's like, "Nah, beer." You know what I mean?
Yellow.
Yeah, I mean, I do.
Okay.
Just Goethe's colour theory and bit of.
No, so we have come to the end of the show.
Yep.
An hour and 3 minutes we're done.
Have we?
That has gone so fast.
Well, yeah. Well, for us it has because we enjoy each other's company. Everyone
else listening,
lads,
like
just
10 days. There you go. There's that 10 days again. It's been great talking to you and catching up. But we definitely do need to get a project done together and just see.
It'll come.
See what happens.
Yeah.
We might end up getting married or anything. You never know.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
Anything's possible.
Yeah. As
long as we don't do it at Gretna Green, that's a project, not getting married. Then we won't be tempted.
Well, you never know. You never know. We
could end up. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, a pleasure. Like I say, anytime.
Absolutely loved it. So this is episode 6, Mr. Hunter, filmmaking and film community building. Hopefully everything, fingers crossed, goes exactly how you want it to. You don't get too many hiccups along the way.
Yeah, I'll take that.
And congratulations on everything you have achieved so far.
Likewise, mate. Yeah.
So that's it. So this is episode 6. This is going to be out on a Monday at some point in July or August. I can't see my calendar from here, so I don't know. But those watching on YouTube, thank you for your continued support. And anyone listening on podcast, please do help support the channel. And if you do have access to YouTube, come along, subscribe, like, share. And if you do enjoy it, tell your mates about it. Other than that, we are going to end this now. So have a wonderful week or two, and you'll hear us on the next podcast. So goodbye and take care. Bye-bye.